Hello everyone and happy 2020. I hope your 2020 is going really well, and we're already 2 weeks in, so hopefully this year is going by pretty well for you. If it's not, don't worry. I'm on the same boat. I actually just lost my cat of 4 years. On New Year's Day, he got hit by a car and it was just so devastating. All of my family and I were really attached to him. But things happen. There are so many things that are out of our control. If you have a pet, you understand the loss and just like the feeling that you have when you lose a pet. It's definitely, it's not so great. Anyways, I'm not gonna get emotional. Recently actually did get a new cat. My family and I, we just really missed having like a little furry family member around. So we saved a little cat from the shelter. Nobody wanted him because he's so feisty. He hissed and everything. He's only 2 months old. But he warmed up to us so fast and he's like my little baby now, So I have my other cat. He has his own space, but I'm building a little, like a new space for another little furry friend of mine. So yeah, that's kind of what's happened in 2020. A lot of crazy other things have happened, but we're not going to talk about that because we are going to talk about my glam 2019 makeup favorites. So I did promise you guys a part 2. I did do a part 1 where I showcased all of like the makeup products that I've incorporated in like my everyday makeup routine. I didn't want to put everything in one video just because it was going to be so long and there were going to be so many products. So I decided to kind of do separate videos, and I did one for like my everyday sort of natural makeup routine. Now I'm gonna do all my glam makeup favorite. I really haven't been wearing makeup like this at all, which sucks because I love to wear glam makeup and just kind of get glammed up, but this is as glam as it's gonna get for me. I really dislike a simple sort of soft glam look. I don't like anything too extreme. So I did film my eyes first, so I'm gonna talk about like my eyeshadow palettes that I've been loving. I do have 2 eyeshadow palettes to share with you guys. The first one is a little bit more on the high-end sort of spectrum. Yeah, this is the Huda Beauty, the new nude palette. This palette is so good, you guys. I've always sort of picked up like the little quads that Huda Beauty comes out with, but I never purchased like a full palette from her before. This is the first time that I actually picked up like a full palette, and I'm really blown away by the performance of these eyeshadows. I think these eyeshadows are beautiful. There's so many different looks that you can do from just these eyeshadows. If I just had this palette for the rest of my life, I would be happy. These are a little bit more like rosy toned. They don't have like the bronzy sort of earthy tones to it. It's a lot like rosy mauve. You don't want to spend so much money on eyeshadow, like an eyeshadow palette. I do recommend her little quads that she has, and she did come out with like the nude ones. So I recommend those. Even though I've never tried them, I do have 2-3 quads from her, and I love the performance of those eyeshadows as well. They're really good. For this look, all I did is I used Teddy in my crease as the soft transition shade, and then I went in with Raw on my outer corner just because it is a little bit more darker. It's really going to define that outer V that we have on our eyes. And I went in with Crave, the champagne, like shimmery champagne color, and I put this over my lid. We do have these two, which is Excite and Infatuated. Those are like glitter. The other ones, which are Daydream, Crave, Fantasy, and Charmed, these are a little bit more of that pressed metallic shimmer, not really like glitter. Yeah, and then the other palette, Makeup Revolution, these are their Reloaded palettes. This is in Neutrals 3. Honestly, this thing is the best. I think when it comes to drugstore eyeshadows, this is my favorite. I used to love the Wet n Wild eyeshadows. I thought they were really pigmented and everything, but Makeup Revolution has like kicked those out of the park. This is an amazing palette. They're so affordable. They have so many different selections to choose from. I think one of the best things about this eyeshadow palette are the matte. Drugstore makeup, their matte eyeshadows lack a lot of pigment and they're also really patchy. So with this, I do not get that at all. I've used each single eyeshadow in this palette and on my eyes before to create several different looks, and that has never disappointed me. So I didn't use a lot of eyeshadows from this palette just because I wanted to use the Huda Beauty one a little bit more, but I did go in with this like mid-tone rusty brown color and put that on my lid to serve as a base for that shimmery champagne color from the Huda Beauty palette. The weather is so weird. It just got dark all of a sudden. It was raining and then it was sunny and now it's dark. For lashes, I discovered the Ardell Wispies. Now these are just like the regular wispies. They're not the demi wispies. I always use the demi wispies. Just like a little bit more subtle. So the wispies are much more longer. They're wispier. They're really perfect for a glam look. So that's just all I have on my eyes. So yeah, these are really good. That's all I have to say about these lashes. They're really, really awesome. That is it for the eyes. Honestly, I have like nothing else to share as far as eyes go. I can go on and on about face makeup. I like my face makeup, even for a really glam look, to look really natural, to look really soft. I don't really do a lot of heavy makeup. That's just like not my thing. I try to keep the products as minimal as possible, but also, you know, it's makeup. You want it to show on your face. If you didn't want it to show on your face, why are you even wearing makeup? So this foundation has actually been on my list for years, but I never purchased it because I was like, you know, there was always new foundation launches that happen and then you just kind of get distracted. But I finally decided to purchase this guy last year, and this is the EX1 Invisiwear Liquid Foundation. Now, one thing that I love about this foundation is that you can see it's in a clear packaging, so you can see how much you're using up. So this is how much I've used up so far, which I know doesn't seem a lot, but believe me, this is like a third of the way done. And I don't wear foundation every day. I don't really wear foundation at all, but every time I would have to like go out or anything, you know, do my makeup all fancy, I would always reach for this foundation. It does come with a pump. Mine is kind of dirty right now, but hey, that's just what it is. I do have a neutral skin tone, a little bit more olivey neutral. And so what this does is it doesn't make your skin look gray whatsoever. And this is probably one of the only foundations that I have that I don't have to mix in with anything else. It just like matches my skin perfectly. I have the shade 6.0. Whenever I'm applying this foundation, I just feel like I'm applying like a second layer of skin. I do love this a lot, and I love the olivey sort of neutral undertone that it has. It performs really well all throughout the day. It doesn't break up on my skin, and I have very dry skin, by the way. I feel like I should add that. So I do have dry skin, and it doesn't break up my foundation, doesn't cling onto my dry patches. So concealer, I'm really not going to get into it because I already talked about my Too Faced Born This Way concealer. This is my favorite concealer, hands down. I like this better than the Tarte Shape Tape. The Tarte Shape Tape is way too thick for me now, and it's so drying. I hate it. This gives you a good amount of coverage. Like, it's medium to full coverage, but it's much more liquidy. It's much more emollient. So it's going to blend out so nicely onto the skin. And this doesn't even go into settle into your fine lines. But a little trick that I actually do whenever I do my glam makeup is I use a corrector. I like to use it before my foundation, but as I was filming, I forgot to do it, so I put it on top of my foundation. But ideally, I do like to go after like my primer and moisturizer with a corrector, and then I put on like my foundation and stuff. What I've been doing is I take this LA Girl Pro Conceal. This is their corrector in the shade Orange, so it's just orange corrector. Now if I use this by itself, this is very, very orange and dark for my skin tone. So I did, like, the first couple of times I just kind of went directly in with this guy and put it underneath my eyes and around my mouth area. Those are like my problematic areas. And even after putting my foundation on top, because I don't take a full coverage foundation, you could see this orange corrector peeking through my foundation. I've been doing to create kind of like my perfect corrector is I take this and I mix in a little bit of my Too Faced concealer on the back of my hand, and I mix it together, so then it's like a dark peach color, and I go underneath my eyes and around my mouth, and that way it does what I want it to do. It corrects my sort of discoloration that I have going on. When I go on top with a foundation or a concealer, you don't see that orange peeking through. So that's kind of like what I've been doing. And yeah, I really like this LA Girl Pro Concealer thingy-mabobber. Just for a little bit of added brightness, this is a little extra step that I do. This is the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer. I got this when I went to London. Now this is full coverage, but it's not drying, it's really liquidy, and it doesn't feel heavy or cakey on the skin. After I kind of take that Too Faced concealer, I'll take a little bit into like the inner sort of inner eyes, I guess, like the inner part of my under eyes, and I just put a little bit of this on and blend it out. and it kind of gives me a little bit more of an added brightness because that Too Faced concealer, it matches my skin tone much more than this one does, because this one is definitely a couple of shades lighter to give me that added brightness and highlighted sort of effect. For powder, I actually did discover a new powder this year, and this is the Glossier Wowder. I like to take this mainly underneath my eyes. A really kind of like light consistency. It's very kind of like transparent on the skin. That's what I love about this. Since I am a dry skin gal, I feel a lot of powders just look really aging on my skin. For light makeup days, I also just kind of like to take this all over my skin and set my skin tint with this. And for the rest of my face, mainly like the T-zone area, I just went ahead and set my face with the Sephora Micro Smooth powder. You guys already know I love this guy. It's so great. It really makes your skin look super smooth and poreless and does a really fantastic job with setting your concealed places or your foundation without making your skin look heavy. For bronzer, you guys already know the Stitch. I mentioned this in my last video as well. This is the Too Faced Dark Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. I use this for doing light makeup, glam makeup, whatever. I always just reach for this bronzer. It's really warm, which is what I like about it. It kind of adds a little bit more warmth to my skin tone. Just like really been enjoying this bronzer on my lids, on my face. I also like to put a little bit around like my nose, maybe around my jawline if I'm feeling it. So this is just like a nice all over bronzer. You don't have to be too precise with it. Like that perfect sort of undertone. I pair this right on top of foundation that I haven't even set it, and it does not look patchy whatsoever. It's a huge plus point when a product is not patchy on top of liquid makeup. It shows you the quality of the product and exactly how finely milled the powder is. So for blush, my cream blushes sort of obsession that I've been having, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. So today I'm actually going to talk about new powder blushes that I have discovered. So the first one is the Vasanthi Cosmetics Bloom Blush in the shade Orchid. This blush was sent to me, and I'm so happy that they sent me the shade because I wouldn't have picked it out myself. It's like a really deep berry shade, but it just looks so beautiful on the skin, and it gives you that flushed sort of look. Another thing that I really like about this product besides the color is the formula. It lasts all day on your skin. It doesn't accentuate the pores whatsoever. It just looks really, really smooth, and it's just what I like about it. So that's really it. With this blush, I really like it. Another one that I have been using, this is the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush in the shade Feisty. I do have a little travel size of this. I believe I got it as a point perk at Sephora. Definitely like a dark nude shade, and I've been a fan of these Amazonian clay blushes for the longest time. I think when I just started getting into makeup as a teenager, I purchased my first blush from Sephora, and it was one of these Tarte blushes. So these have just been there with me through the nick of time. So I definitely do love this product. I really love the color as well. It's beautiful. It just kind of like brightens up your whole face and makes you face the day. Sleek Makeup highlighting palette and copper plate. Sorry, mine is like super duper dirty because it just be like that. Now the only two colors I use are right here. I do not use the bottom two at all, which I feel like they'd be really nice on the eyes, but I don't really like their formula for the cheeks. These are so smooth and they just look exactly like you're glowing. They do not have chunky glitter. They don't accentuate texture, pores. So I do really like this palette a lot. And if you can get your hands on it, I highly do recommend. It's really affordable and you can just create so many looks with this. And again, it just looks really nice on the face. Now let's move on to my favorite category, which are lips. I have a lot of lip products, so we're gonna go through them fast. I'm gonna actually talk about my lip combo first. So I finally got my hands on the Morphe lip liners. I've been wanting Morphe lip liners for the longest time, and I got two really nice shades. The other one I don't know where it is. It's in the shade Guide Me, but I have no idea where it is. It's probably somewhere in my bag or something. This is the one that I'm wearing today underneath the liquid lip, and this is in the shade Clingy. This is such a beautiful, like, dark, rusty brown color. I love wearing this underneath any lipstick to warm up the lipstick, make it a little bit darker. A lot of my nude lipsticks, just in general, turn out really gray on me because of my skin tone. So this is like a really nice base to add. And for the liquid lip, it's Ulta Beauty Velvet Matte Liquid Lipstick. Now this is amazing. I don't know why I never really shop around in the Ulta Beauty makeup line because they have pretty cool products. This in their lip glosses, and I really liked it. But this Velvet Matte Lipstick is gorgeous on the lips. This is in the shade Zen. Almost reminds me of Ashton from Anastasia Beverly Hills, but I like this better. I like the formula of this way better than the Anastasia one. And then the other lip liners that I'm going to talk about. So I finally also got my hands on the ColourPop lip liners. I always wanted to try out the ColourPop lippy pencils, but I just never did because they were not easily accessible. You would always have to order online, and I wasn't really sure of the colors online. But recently Ulta started carrying ColourPop, and so I got this in the shade BFF2, which is much more of a, like, it's a brown for sure, but I would describe this as a mauvey brown. This is really good if I want to kind of like line my lips and make them look a little bit more like plump and like overline them and stuff. This is the lip liner I'd go for. The next one is super tiny because I've used it every single day. NYX lip liner in Nutmeg. I've been a fan of these NYX lip liners for the longest time. So that's the shade of it right here. You can see it's not super warm. It's definitely deep, but there's just something about it. Again, I love pairing this with my nude lips as well because I feel like this just enhances the color and makes it look much better on my skin tone. Lastly, we're going to talk about the Aveda Feed My Lips Nourishing Lip Liner. I think this is the perfect name, Feed My Lips Nourishing Lip Liner, because this is a lip liner that is very, very silky and smooth, and it actually moisturizes your lips. I can get away with wearing this color by itself because A, I love the color, and B, the formula is just so lip friendly. It's very hydrating, very smooth, and again, I just love the shade. There we go, that's the shade. It's gorgeous, I love it, and I have this in the shade Chestnut, by the way, just in case if I did not say it. Alright, and then I have 3 liquid lip sort of products that I want to talk about. The first one is a little bit more affordable. This is the Morphe liquid lipstick in the shade Peanut. It's just like a warm brown shade. It has a little bit of peach to it as well. I really like the formula of these Morphe liquid lipsticks because I feel as if they're not super drying, they're not super opaque to the fact where it's going to give you that really awkward lip line that sometimes you can get and just tell how heavy a liquid lipstick is. This does not do that. This has like a really nice formula, very lightweight, and is still pretty comfortable. Now it is a liquid lipstick, so it is going to be a little bit drying, but I don't know, I just really like the shade. Next is this Bobbi Brown Crushed Liquid Lip. Now I would describe this, if you love liquid lipsticks, you love their opacity and everything, but you don't like the dryness and the chapped lips that they provide, I would tell you to go get yourself the Bobbi Brown Crushed Liquid Lip. Even though this is super like liquidy and shiny on the lips, it still lasts very long and it almost leaves a stain on your lips. So I love this. Definitely something that I wear every day. And this is in the shade Smoothie Move, by the way. It's really nice. So it's like a nice like mauve sort of pinky color. Affordable option to that Bobbi Brown liquid lip. Sephora Cream Lip Shine, because it provides that really opaque color, but it's not drying. It's actually pretty shiny on the lips. I don't like this formula. I think the Bobbi Brown formula is so much better because it doesn't like goop up. This can goop up sometimes. Just be careful with how you apply it. I think a thin layer of this is more than enough. And I have this in the shade number 5, which is Sunset Mirage. And this is the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in Bond Girl. Favorite lipsticks of all time. I think I'm going to be repurchasing this till my very last breath because this is just one of those lipsticks that looks so flattering on my skin tone, but also on like my but also on the texture of my lips. So I do like matte lips sometimes. I feel like matte lips, for me, they just are much less kind of like in your face. They're a little bit more toned down. So this is the perfect sort of work lipstick, school lipstick. I wear this all the time just because it's so comfortable. The color is really, really beautiful. And the formula of these are just amazing. I think Charlotte Tilbury really kind of hit it out of the park with this one. She did a fantastic job on the formulation of these lipsticks. And lastly, we have the Mented Cosmetics lipstick in the shade Nude Lala. So they sent me actually a bunch of lipsticks from their summer nude collection, but this was definitely my favorite. So this is again that warm sort of brown lipstick, but this has a really nice shine to it. So it almost reminds me of Luster Lipsticks by MAC, but a lot more pigmentation. So there is Nude Lala. As you can see, it's just like a really nice warm brown. This is a really nice everyday shade as well. But that completes my favorites videos in general. Part 1 is complete, part 2 is complete. These are the products that I have been loving in the year of 2019, and I'll continue to give them love in 2020 and beyond because they're just that amazing. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, the style of this video. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. He is so curious. Like, he just wants to know what I'm doing, what the heck is going on. He's never seen me film before. So he's like, okay, you could go.